Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number for the month of March 2026. Before we get into that forecast, though, this is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below, and I'd love to work with you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look to see what March holds in store. Life path number 1, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 5 throughout March. And so you could feel a little bit restless, a little bit excited about this month. Change, adventure, and the lure of new vistas could be beckoning you now. Travel is very much highlighted during this cycle. So if you have an opportunity to travel, then I would say go for it. If you can't physically travel, then this would be a time where you would be looking to expand your mind or, read a good book or take a workshop or a class, something that will expand the mind in some way and the spirit. This is a month that's going to continuously push you to break out of any of the stagnant conditions that you might have found yourself in or those self-imposed prisons that you might have created for yourself and investigate new opportunities. So you could be attracted to any kind of new course, education, hobbies, new mental interest of any kind, traveling to new places that you haven't been before, exploration, curiosity. These are all coming in for you this month. And it can, again, push you towards greater mental growth and development, as well as, again, spiritual growth and development. This is a cycle where you could be faced with some situations that will require decisions and choices, and it can almost feel like there's a sense of urgency around this. I would say take your time and do your due diligence to make sure that the decisions that you're making right now are the ones that make the most sense for you right now. And don't be overly impulsive, but this is the time to take the risk, to take the leap of faith. And this can bring about some kind of turning point for you. So this is likely going to initiate or spark some kind of continual change in your life. So you need to be flexible. You need to learn to adapt. And rather than make rigid plans, because there's going to likely be a lot of shifting sands this month, and those rigid plans could likely be altered or shifted, I would say free yourself to meet the experience that comes in for you at this time. Be curious, explore, and make your decisions in a very flexible way, where if you have to shift gears down the road or next month or later this year, it's not going to completely derail you. Ultimately, this is a cycle of exploration, right? So the decisions that you make this month should be opening you up to new opportunities, allowing you to try new things, think and act outside of your comfort zone, be a little more unconventional, but with the understanding that the decisions that you make now may shift, may change in the future. And so be as adaptable as possible and don't beat yourself up if things don't always go the way that you plan them to this month. Though there could be a sense of urgency this month, try not to be careless. Don't make your decisions haphazardly. Instead, sort of channel your energies into that opportunity for exploration. And through that exploration, you will likely stumble across some things that will have staying power and that will move you in the direction of that longevity with whatever it is that you're deciding to do at this time. This is a fantastic cycle for promoting yourself, promoting a product, promoting some kind of service that you have to offer, because people will be open to how you're communicating and people will be drawn in by your excitement. So use this time to be social, to advocate for yourself, to put yourself out there, and to share that excitement with others. And you will meet new people and make new friends who can hopefully contribute towards that excitement and help that momentum to build. Anything social this month or anything that kind of puts you on a platform and helps you to, again, share your ideas, even if they're different, even if it, invokes some kind of change in the world. People might not get it. They might not initially buy into it, but they're going to be drawn to that excitement. So, you might be in a position, especially as a 1, where you're meant to build it and then other people can see how it works and buy in later. But your beliefs about whatever this is, your excitement about whatever this is going to be the calling card that people are going to be drawn towards. Now, there can also be a lot of temptations this month. And so again, curiosity is great, but use self-control to make the right decisions for you in this moment while maintaining that adaptability. The other thing I would say to kind of drive home is with this 5 energy, that desire for change could be coming in. A lot of times we know we need to make some changes, but we don't always feel ready. This 5 cycle can bring in that readiness. So you might well decide or sort of be like forced in some way to change jobs, to change partners, to move, to alter your lifestyle considerably in some way. And again, I would say don't be overly impulsive with that, but be open to it. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got alligator energy. And so really what comes in with this is that need for sort of being the observer and, again, being curious and monitoring the situation sort of before you leap. But once you leap, once you make the decision, once you sort of take the action, then go all in. Trust yourself with that decision. Trust yourself in the direction that you're moving in. And don't second guess yourself. Don't keep coming back to, did I make the right decisions? Should I have done something differently? You know, like an alligator, when it decides to pounce, it's all in. And it just deals with consequences of it, you know, after the fact. So this is not about sort of ruminating in what could have been, should have been, or how you could have done things differently. This is a month for, you know, surveying the landscape and seeing, first of all, being decisive on how you want to sort of take that leap of faith, what that looks like. And then once the timing looks right for you, go for it and trust yourself. Don't second guess yourself. This is likely going to be a month full of surrender and, again, sort of getting comfortable in the uncomfortableness, but it will bring you a lot of clarity, a lot of momentum in some area of your life. Life path number 2, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 6 throughout March. And so the energies of this cycle sort of center around your home and your community in some way. And so I would say look to what is emphasized in your home at this time. Where are changes occurring? So you might have people coming in or people leaving your home, whether it's through marriage or birth, perhaps death, divorce, other occurrences. Or you may change your residence and therefore change your community and have to find ways to become a part of your community in some way or get to know your community in some way. This is a time where you could meet new people. You could develop strong ties with friends or someone that's new in your life. You could absolutely meet a partner at this time. Love is in the air. You could feel sort of a greater sense of responsibility towards others, and people will feel that. And so as a result, they could turn to you for assistance or for your advice or guidance. And so you just have to, you know, if you're able to show up in that way, then this is a beautiful time to do that. If you've been struggling with something and you can't seem to find the answer to it, this is a beautiful cycle to shift the focus to others. How can you be of service? How can you show up in a nurturing way and assistance towards others? And usually when we do that, when we take the focus off ourselves and we start to look outwards and how we can be of service, the answer to our own problems usually surfaces. So this is a great time to do that and be of service in some way. This is also one of those times where for some of you, some relationships could become like they really need your assistance. So it could feel almost burdensome in some way. So you might have responsibilities of being a caretaker in some way. That forces you to, again, shift your focus from self and your desires onto what this person needs and how you can show up in that way. It's not going to be forever. It's going to be for a while. So, you know, find your way to manage that. Ask for the support that you need to be able to do that if this happens, you know, if this comes in for you. And find a way to accept the situation for what it is and find a way to bring the most harmony into that situation. So you don't want to sacrifice yourself and you don't want to try to show up in a way that you're not capable of showing up. But, you know, this is a time to kind of be more selfless this month and see how you can, again, be of service, but without accepting unnecessary burdens. Again, you don't want to be a doormat. You don't want to like overgive or overextend yourself, because that's just going to lead to resentment, and then nobody in that situation is benefiting at that time. This is also a time where you could feel really artistic, like the sort of creative juices are flowing. And so you could put your creativity to use at this time. Maybe you want to redecorate. Maybe you want to remodel your home. Maybe you want to put a fresh coat of paint on there, get some new furniture, maybe create your own sanctuary or beautify your space in some way, or your office or something like that, where you get excited to be in that space. Also self, if you've wanted to, buy a new outfit or, go have a spa day or something like that. It's not only about nurturing others, but also nurturing ourselves and beautifying ourselves, where we feel beautiful, no matter, what gender you are, doesn't matter. There's always this opportunity to come back to self and romanticize self and show ourselves that love. So this can be a cycle where opportunities to do that can come in, and I would say take those opportunities. This is also one of those times where I would say, again, don't take on unnecessary responsibilities or commitments, because anything you kind of take on at this time, you really need to see it through to conclusion. And so if you're taking on things that you can't possibly carry, it's going to become really overwhelming and lead to that resentment very quickly. So finish up any old projects that you might have that come up for you that maybe you've been procrastinating on, and think very carefully about how you want to overcome the obstacles that you're confronted with at this time. Think about very clearly about how you want to show up of service in others' lives at this time, and be very clear about that. And if you're not able to show up in the way that someone needs for you to at this time, you need to be very honest with them and communicate that to them so that they can find the support that they need elsewhere. This can be a truly loving, rewarding, and creative cycle. So just maintain your balance, your harmony, and you'll get the most out of this cycle, and you'll have an opportunity to really make your home beautiful and feel like a sanctuary and as warm as possible. And others will be excited to be able to kind of bask in that warmth. Balance between work and home is going to be really important as well. So make sure that you're honoring that. But very, 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 very strong focus on relationships this month for you all. Truth, love, and honesty. Having those difficult conversations might come up as well. So honor that if that happens. I pulled an animal card for you all, and you got bat energy. And this is really about like seeing through the illusion, seeing through the darkness, getting to the truth of something. And a lot of times the best way to do that is through having those difficult conversations, addressing the elephant in the room, getting uncomfortable getting comfortable in the uncomfortableness by having those conversations. And so you might find yourself in a position to do that at this time, and you might have to initiate it. So if something's been bothering you, if something's been feeling off with a relationship or something along those lines, this is the time to have the conversation, to put yourself out there and advocate for yourself, advocate for a healthier relationship, kind of break free from the surface layer, go deeper. And that depth will be sort of accomplished through the conversations, through addressing what needs to be addressed. And this 6 energy is going to help you to do that this month. So don't shy away from it. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Life path number 3, you all are going to be working with a vibration of the 7 throughout March. So this is one of those cycles where I would say take ample time for rest. And rest doesn't necessarily need to mean laying down sleeping. It can just mean doing things that don't feel burdensome, doing things that allow you to feel free, doing things that feel self-soothing, like self-care. Spending your time the way that you want to be spending your time, investing your energy into where it feels good to do so. And so this cycle throughout the month, honor what your body needs, body, mind, spirit, what it's asking for. This is one of those times where I would say, take opportunities to be quiet, to be receptive, to think about yourself and, where you're at on your journey, and analyze your goals, your projects, your relationships. Spend time with yourself and listen to, again, what your body, mind, spirit are asking for. This is a great time to write down your thoughts, like keep a journal. This is a great time to be inspired by your dreams, by visions, by intuitive hits, Any writings that you sort of create at this time, or like what you write down through the vision, through the dreams, through the ideas and the inspirations that come to you, could absolutely down the road lead to some kind of creative project, or how you, again, like a greater understanding of how you want to use your energy and your time and your resources. And so it can be very like an aha moment, right? Like bring in a lot of clarity around what's next for you. What are the goals that you want to set for yourself? What is it that you want to achieve? And what does that look like? And then what is it, obviously what decisions do you need to make and actions do you need to take in order to move in that direction? But this cycle throughout March is more of like that contemplative period. It's more of that like just playing in the realm of your imagination and your intuition and what comes in for you, what inspires you, what do you want to set your sights on? What excites you? What lifts you up? What, again, inspires you? This is a great cycle to get tapped into your inner workings and the depth of those inner workings. And so astrology, meditation, yoga, numerology are all great tools to help you dive deeper. Tarot as well. So dabbling in the metaphysical a bit and connecting to your spirit are going to be very beneficial and very helpful, again, in helping you getting back into realignment and discovering what's next. What's the next step? What direction do you want to be moving in? This is definitely one of those cycles that feels a bit softer. So you're not meant to force or push or try to manipulate or control an experience in order to get out of it every last drop. You're really meant to kind of sit back a little bit. You've kind of weaved your web and now see what presents to you, and then decide how you want to work with it, how you want to show up in whatever way. And it might be that what presents to you comes in through your dreams, through ideas, through inspirations, and you're not meant to like jump into it overnight or tackle it overnight, but allow it to like marinate, right? Don't overlook it or dismiss it too quickly, but write it down and then just allow it to marinate for a bit. And then the answers will come about what you're supposed to do with it next. But there's no forcing during this cycle. Anything you kind of force during this cycle, you're really restricting the energy. So you're going to get not as much out of it as you could get out of this cycle. So I would say be very curious, but also like relax. Things are going to fall into place. Things are going to work out the way that they need to. And you're going to have everything you need in order to be like an active participant in that. You don't have to force it. Now, 7 cycles can absolutely bring in sort of a concentration on health. So I'm looking at like holistic health here. So anywhere that you feel out of balance, body, mind, spirit, anywhere that things sort of crop up for you that are asking for your attention, this is a great time to give it that attention. If your body's asking to slow down, then slow down. Find ways to slow down. If your body's asking for, healthier food, then give it healthier food. It doesn't mean you have to like neglect your cravings, but it just means incorporate those things that your body's asking you for at this time. More exercise, give it more exercise, go for more walks, go out in nature, whatever your body's asking for at this time. This is the cycle that I would say take the invitation, because the universe and the 7th cycle has a way of sort of forcing you to slow down if you don't take the invitation to slow down. So yeah, I would say take the invitation. And if something does crop up, this is a great time to ask for support, for help, right? So seeing a therapist or seeing a doctor if something comes up. Anything that helps to heal or get you back into alignment or bring in greater balance when we're talking about holistic health is absolutely on the menu this month for you all. And if you feel like you need more alone time this month, take it. You don't have to give anybody an explanation. Just take the time that you need for yourself this month. There's a lot here about like self-soothing and going deeper coming back to yourself and going deeper into the depths of you. And the answers that come through, the sort of the clarity and the guidance that comes through can be life-changing when we move through a 7 cycle. So listen closely to what your body is trying to tell you and what your soul is trying to tell you as well. I would also say be careful about, you don't have to be careful, just be cautious about signing any documents or legal agreements at this time. Just make sure that you are, reading it over, reading the fine print, having someone look at it that has an understanding of what it is that you are signing your name to, especially if it's a long-term commitment. You want to be able to sign that with confidence, to know that your best interest is also being taken into consideration. Now, I pulled an animal wisdom message for you, and you got beaver energy. And so it was interesting because what immediately came up, of course, was like, we think of beavers and we think of them like building their little home, right? And so there's like this energy of like being secluded, being like little hermits. And 7 energy can absolutely bring the need for that in. So I would say, again, if you feel called to be not social this month and just kind of hibernate a bit, then go for it. But really with beaver energy, beavers are very specific about the wood that they use to build their homes. And they're very specific about who they allow into their homes. And so I would say that there's something here for you all. Be mindful of the materials, the tools that you're using to build your quote unquote home. And be mindful about who you're inviting into your home. There's nothing wrong with protecting your peace and protecting your balance and harmony, especially when it comes to your home. And when we're talking about your home, it can be the physical structure, but it can also be like your emotions and your sense of self. So be very discerning when it comes to who you're letting into that circle, into that safe space, so to speak. Not everyone deserves an invitation, and not everyone deserves to stay there. So be very discerning. And this 7 cycle will help you to see very clearly. Life path number 4. So we're going to be working with the vibration of the 8 throughout March. And so we could absolutely have career on the mind, money on the mind, how it is that we can sort of bring greater balance to areas in our lives where maybe there's like an imbalance of power, maybe there's been some injustices, and so we need to put our attention in those areas to see how we can get greater justice for wherever it is that we feel like we have been mistreated or something along those lines. So a lot of like recognizing our worth, standing up for ourselves, advocating for ourselves, righting some of those wrongs that may have occurred. Also, this cycle is very much a sort of reap what you sow type of energy. So when an 8 cycle comes through, truth becomes very apparent. And so things can come to light, secrets can be revealed, and we start to see, the rewards or the difficulties that stem from how we have been spending our time and how we have been investing our energy. So it's a cycle that says you'll get exactly what you deserve during this karmic cycle because it's time to receive payments and pay debts. Because again, it can be very karmic. And since the 8 rules the material plane, if you've sown wisely, if you've invested your time and energy wisely, so to speak, then you can likely expect recognition, rewards, promotions, again, like a balancing of that power, justice, that sort of thing. You could feel way more empowered during this cycle. You could feel like you have a greater sense of self and worth and value in the world during this cycle, because the work that you've been doing has been pushing you in that direction. However, on the flip side, if you see loss, if you see more injustice, if you see that there's more stronger like power dynamics, then, it's just that opportunity to course correct, to make some changes, to make some modifications, to do things or choose to do things differently. And life will present you with exactly what's needed in order to do that, because, now you're kind of receiving the rewards or the not so comfortable karma from how you have been spending your time. But you have this opportunity now to decide, okay, moving forward, what kind of seeds do I want to plant? What is it that I want to reap in the next 8 cycle that I move through? Remembering that we are always the gardener. So if we don't like watermelon, we probably don't want to be planting watermelon. Now, on a more positive note, this 8 cycle can also bring in a lot of success, a lot of recognition, a lot of sort of the spotlight being on you when it comes to, again, career, money, promotions, launches. If you're looking to launch some kind of a business or, again, get your name out into the world, to share your expertise in some way, this is such a phenomenal time to do that. So go for it. This is a time where I would say be as efficient as possible, organized, look to make those tangible results or create those tangible results and figure out what's needed in order to bring those ideas to life, in order to get you out into the world. And if you were looking, like if you're going back to school or something like that, or you're taking courses to, again, like refine that expertise, this is a great time, again, to do that. Some of you may be graduating from that. And this is a time where I feel like you're ready to start putting yourself out there and looking at like what's next and creating those next layered goals. This is also a phenomenal time to ask for the assistance that you need from others who are in a position to be able to help you sort of get ahead and can maybe open those doors for you. Remembering that when you get to that position where you're able to help others in that same way, you need to be remembering that, like, that you didn't get to where you're at on your own. And so the 8 energy is always about circulating our wealth, our wisdom, anything that we can do to help to empower, uplift, and inspire others as well. And this is a cycle that will push you to take calculated risks and to be open to being able to figure out how to work with the highs and the lows that undoubtedly will come from taking those risks. But we have to take risks in life in order to grow, to expand, to move forward. And when we hit those lows, like the risk didn't really pay off, we need to learn from that. What did not work out? What do we need to release? And then we need to build on what did work. So instead of getting stuck in those sort of valleys. So definitely a time to take risks and pull from your inner strength to be able to face the consequences of those risks and continue to build your empire, so to speak. And I pulled an animal wisdom message for us, and we got chipmunk energy. And so this is like the perfect kind of chaotic energy to go along with 8 energy, because, the chipmunk knows what it wants and it knows how to get it, and it's going to be calculated in that approach. But there's also like a lot of risk taking involved with squirrels and chipmunks, right? Like they sort of hoard all the food preparing for winter, and they like dig up little holes and put it around, on various places. But they don't really keep a spreadsheet of where they put all that nutrients. So it's very likely they're going to forget where they put most of it. But they're going to make sure that they have enough to sustain them through those harder times. And the deeper sort of message here is that it's a great thing to take risks. And it's also a great thing to recognize that even if those risks don't work out, they're still serving a purpose. There's growth there. Because like going back to chipmunk, right? So those seeds that he planted, throughout the summer, if he forgets where those are, yes, he doesn't get to gain any of the nutrients from those seeds, but guess what? Trees will likely grow, plants will grow, flowers will grow from those seeds. So there's always that growth. Everything serves a purpose. And so if you're being pushed to take some kind of a risk at this time, don't get caught up on, well, what if it doesn't work out? Because it's always working out, even if it doesn't seem like it is, because those lows, those valleys, when things don't work out, is pushing us in a different direction. It's pushing us somewhere that will work out. And we wouldn't have come across that path, perhaps, had we not taken the risk. So a lot here around, if you're feeling called to take the leap of faith, to take the risk, this is such a great month to do it. Life path number 5, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 9 throughout March. And so this is one of those cycles where things can happen very quickly, and there can be a lot of stops and starts, because you're likely going to be moving through some kind of significant period of change, transformation, transition in some area of your life. The 9 has a knack for kind of coming in and shaking things up and releasing what needs to be released, or moving things that need to be moved. And so this is a time where you have an opportunity to release or eliminate sort of the things that are no longer serving you, and finding a way to kind of heal from or separate yourself from, things that you view as like past mistakes, or, emotional experiences that have been weighing heavy on you and you haven't been able to sort of move on from. Anything that we've been reluctant to let go of, that has been creating some kind of greater obstacle in our life, a 9 cycle can help to free us from that. And anything that we are freed from in a 9 cycle are the things that are no longer necessary for our own personal development, for our own personal evolution, or for how we are meant to show up in the world. So this is one of those times where, again, If it's no longer necessary for your evolution and development, then the 9 cycle comes in and takes care of it for you. I would also say this is a time where greater healing, right? And healing can take so many different forms. It can just mean like taking a break, getting away from the noise, the hustle and the bustle, like not having to always be on. So maybe like unplugging, rejuvenating, right? Like getting reconnected with self and your deeper desires. That's all part of healing. And like, again, refilling your cup up. So a vacation or a staycation or some kind of trip would be great therapy at this time. And it'll give you some time to think about and to sort of separate yourself from those deeper kind of emotions that have been kind of that keep bubbling to the surface, but that you just haven't been able to release. Sometimes a change of scenery can do a world of good. So if you have that opportunity, this is a perfect month for that. And they don't have to be long trips. They can just be like trips nearby that you to a place you haven't been before, or some place, again, where you can just relax and become one with nature, if that speaks to you. Or again, a place where you can kind of focus on your own personal creativity and personal self-expression, because that also can be very healing. A lot of your goals can be actualized during this time and realized. And so you should absolutely move through any procrastination and attempt to finish any projects that are kind of close to completion, that maybe you've been procrastinating on, or maybe you set down. This is a great time to pick it up. Not a great time for new commitments though, or new projects or big new initiations during a 9 cycle. This is that time for completion, for release, for getting the things off your plate to create the space for the new inspirations and ideas and motivations that'll be coming in for you that you can really focus more on next month when you'll be on a 1 cycle. But anytime we initiate something new or we try to force something in a 9 cycle, typically it's not very long lasting and we have to like go back and try again or clean it up or do it differently. So focus your energy on the things that are already in progress, the things that already have momentum, or again, maybe you put it down, but now you're being revisited by it. This is a great time to pick it back up and do whatever is necessary to complete it and get it off of your plate once and for all. And then you'll likely see the rewards from that as well. So it can be very rewarding. This is also a cycle where you're kind of looking to shift your focus from self onto others. So it's the cycle of the humanitarian. So how can you be of service in some way? This is a great cycle to, have those conversations with people about like, what is it that they need? What is it that they need to feel supported? How can you contribute in some way? Volunteer work would be great during this time. Any way that you can sort of do something for others in a very like gratuitous way where you feel good doing so, or you kind of focus on the bigger issues at hand that are affecting a larger amount of people and how you can show up in a way that's helpful or solution oriented, that can actually help you to find the solutions to your own problems. And it can also be very, very, very fulfilling. So anytime we move through a 9 cycle, it gives us an opportunity to step into that purpose greater than self. So I would say take that opportunity if it presents to you. Now, since this is an ending cycle, this is an opportunity where you might see, it's time to change jobs or residence, or maybe a relationship shifts, or maybe you have children kind of leaving the home for higher education or marriage. They're starting their own life and you're kind of moving through that empty nest syndrome. So there's like those sort of deeper kind of endings that could come in at this time, but they're all like a graduation, almost like an opportunity to move to the next chapter, the next stage, the next opportunity, and to kind of set the new goals for wherever you're at this moment in your life. It all plays into that greater evolutionary process. Now, use of your creative powers at this time, very, very much in the spotlight. So again, you could have a lot of inspirations come in now. You could have a lot of downloads and sort of psychic hits and inspirations. And I say write it down and start to contemplate, start to get your ducks in a row, start to figure out like how you want to sort of initiate these new ideas, new dreams, how you want to bring them into reality, because you will likely have time to do that and be pushed to do that next month, again, when you're in a 1 cycle. So really this month you're being asked to look at what is it that you either want to complete, release, or transform. And this is a beautiful month to really focus your energies there. And also to move with the changes that need to come in your life and that are preparing you for, again, that next chapter that correlates most deeply with where you are at on the, currently on your journey, not where you've been. It's an opportunity to rediscover or discover who you are in this moment. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got the deer energy. So of course this brings in greater healing. And again, remember, healing takes many shapes and many forms. It's just being gentle with yourself. It is putting, your attention where it needs to be in order to give yourself that TLC. But the other thing I will talk about with deer is, they are very good at setting boundaries or speaking up for themselves, so to speak, right? But standing up for themselves, if they feel threatened, if they are in an environment that is not healthy, let's say, they're going to stand up for themselves. They are not going to be doormats. They will not easily be taken down. So this 9 cycle could show you where you need to advocate for yourself more, where you need to speak up for yourself, where you need to sort of lean on others or ask for support in order to achieve what you're looking to achieve. But it's not about sacrificing oneself or being sacrificial. It's about, truly recognizing what you need at this stage in your life and then figuring out how do you bring that in so that you can thrive. Really beautiful energy, but also, again, while being gentle with yourself and gentle with others in the process. So beautiful energy. I hope it's a great one. Life path number 6, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 10-1 throughout March. This is a really strong energy, very powerful, very potent. This begins a new cycle, but you also have that vibration of the 0. And so this is a clean slate in some area of your life. You get to decide what you create. You get to decide what you want. You get to decide what decisions and actions will help you to get there. And it helps you to kind of, get comfortable with having that beginner's mind, like recognizing like, okay, it's a clean slate. What do I want to create here? What do I want to fill this space with? And, to do it with discernment so that you're not just filling that space with junk, right? So whatever area it shows up that you have that opportunity for a new beginning, a fresh start, and, something new to take place, make sure that what you're creating there is what you want to be creating there, because you're going to be the one who's at the helm of that ship getting to decide. Now, this is one of those cycles that can be very, very fortunate, very rewarding. So what you've kind of been waiting for, what you've been working towards can absolutely come to culmination at this point in time. A lot of series events can kind of come together to bring that greater success, that material accomplishment. And so I would say that you could call this cycle a turn for the better, a start for something new. And those more innovative ideas and fresh beginnings that you might be experiencing now are really that expression of sort of, the efforts that you've already been putting into place. And it's also a call to action for you to not be idle, but to take the risk, to take the initiation, to get started on whatever it is that you've been looking to get started on, to create, to make happen, to to start to paint on that empty canvas that's sitting there waiting for you. So events that sort of seem accidental or like coincidences at this time could really help you to see like everything kind of like that you've been working towards is starting to pay off. Nothing happens without you. And so whatever is kind of coming your way now in the form of rewards or fortune or luck or success, or that the table's turning, is because you've been moving towards that. You've been working towards that. You've been putting your energy into it. This is an initiation cycle where you could be required to stand alone and make important decisions based on, where you're at on this leg of your journey. Who are you now? And who you are now is likely very different than who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So make your decisions based on, again, who you are in this moment. Follow your intuition and that inner guidance. Pay attention to the facts that are being presented to you. Pay attention to that deeper understanding and awareness that is coming up for you around, again, who you are now. And your desires, your goals will likely shift when you continue to sort of discover who you are now. And then it will help to inform what kind of decisions, what kind of actions you need to take. And you'll know exactly what to do. Now, this is also a cycle that's going to ask you to recognize your limitations and learn to manage those limitations and not get frustrated by them. And so, events that take place during this cycle can help you to understand the true circumstances of your life right now. And then it can help you to understand what you need to do in order to manage those limitations, those circumstances, so that you can get the most out of the experience. So ultimately, March is a month that's saying it's go time. It's time to take action. It's time to set the goal and then move in that direction, while also being motivated by seeing the results from the past efforts that you've put in and the culmination of that. So it can be a very motivating time, a very rewarding cycle. So I would say enjoy it. Now, I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got eel energy. And so this kind of indicates that there could be some shocking news that comes your way. Some secrets could be revealed this month that maybe are very unexpected. And I would say, take your time as you process that and don't be too reactionary, because you don't want, one energy can be very impulsive and reactionary. And so then you might kind of have buyer's remorse from how you responded to that situation. And so I would just say, try to remove yourself from the situation so you can process the information and decide how you want to respond, and then respond, because you will be asked, what are you going to do with this new awareness that's now come your way? And you just want to make sure that you're not overly reactionary, because then you've got to clean that up before you can start to take action, right, from that newfound awareness. So just be gentle with yourself. If that does come in for you, if something shocking or some secrets come in that you just weren't expecting, and it kind of opens up a greater sense of clarity in that direction, it can help you to kind of move through it, as long as you manage your emotions and don't become overly reactionary. Hope it's a great one. Take care, sixes. Life path number 7, you all are going to be the inspirational leaders throughout March. I say that because you're going to be working with the vibration of the 11-2. And what does it mean to be an inspirational leader? It simply means that you are following your own inspirations. You're doing what lights you up. You are saying yes to the opportunities that inspire you, that put you in spirit. And by doing that, by default, you will inspire others to do the same. So it's not about manipulating or coercing or trying to influence others in any way, shape, or form. It's simply by following your own inner light and following the inspirations that come your way. And in doing so, again, you become that light that people are drawn to. And again, it encourages them to do the same in their own lives. So with this cycle, you'll likely have to make some decisions, and you may have to make them quickly, because sudden events can require decisive action. So if that's, if making decisions can be difficult for you, this is a time where you're going to have to flex that muscle and learn to trust yourself in that process, not let the, self-doubt or the fear overcome you and be easily influenced by the external. No, this is a cycle where you are meant to go within, see what it is that you want, what feels right for you in this moment, and make your decisions accordingly, following that intuition and trusting yourself in the process. Any experience that you have at this time can feel really exciting, can feel stimulating, can feel inspiring, and it can kind of bring about some impulsivity. So you just want to be patient and tolerant with yourself and with others in this cycle. Just know that where you're investing your time and energy is going to require commitment and require you to continue to show up for it. It's not that quick sort of return of investment. So take your time and give yourself grace. Let's put it that way. Legal dealings could come up this month involving money in some way. So, for example, you might be the recipient of some kind of legacy, some kind of inheritance, some kind of financial settlement might be possible if someone owes you money. You could see that money come through at this time. Any kind of agreements or partnerships, any complications that you've had with that, you could see that be alleviated at this time or settled. So that can be good. Also, this is a very, again, inspiring cycle. So your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities might be very, very heightened at this time. And for a 7, that's really saying something because you all are already very psychic and tuned in. But this cycle can help you to, again, get reacquainted with that side of yourself, the more like spiritual side of yourself, and help you to trust that side of yourself so that you start to follow that intuition more deeply. Now, another beautiful thing with this cycle as it correlates with your own life path of the 7 is the 11 energy when it comes in a cycle. Again, it's an inspiration, it's a feeling, but it wants to be turned into something tangible and useful. And you all as 7s are the bridge between the seen and the unseen, taking the ideas and the inspirations and turning them into something tangible. So if you've had some kind of inspiration or idea that you've been kind of thinking about or it keeps resurfacing, this is going to be such a powerful month for you all to bring it to life, to take the steps necessary to bring it to life. No more just talking about it or thinking about it or having that feeling. What do you need to do in order to make it real, to get it out into the world? Because remember, like, your ideas and your creativity and your inspirations are wonderful and beautiful, but they're only serving you if you keep them to yourself. When you find ways to share those ideas and inspirations and your talents and your gifts and your wisdom, then it becomes a resource for others. It becomes a solution potentially for others. It becomes something that inspires others. So this is a month where if those ideas have been circulating, start to give them legs, start to figure out how can I bring this to life? And also surround yourself with the people who can help you to do that. And again, I would say probably under this cycle, your dreams, your visions, your revelations can be very, very strong, stronger than they normally are. So pay attention. Even if a dream comes in for you that's very vivid and you feel drawn in that direction, but you don't know what to do with it, write it down and you will likely have it figured out by the end of the month or as you move into next month. But this is really about helping you to translate your ideas into something tangible that can be used, not just by you, but by others as well. And also recognizing that your ideas have value and they are meant to be contributed in the world. Now, if you're someone who's already been putting your gifts out into the world, you've been contributing in some way with your gifts or your talents, then this is a month where those talents could be recognized by someone who could offer you some kind of promising position or open some doors for you, or you could receive some kind of public acclaim or some kind of reward for those efforts. And, you know, it can put the spotlight on you in some way. And so I don't know if 7s love that necessarily, but this is a great time to sort of progress your work, to progress your contributions, to recognize the value that they have in the world, and to bring more of them into the world. When we move through an 11-2 cycle, it gives us so many opportunities to really accomplish more during that cycle than any other cycle. But we have to say yes to it, we have to show up for it, and we have to trust ourselves in that process. Now, I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you've got wolf energy. And so immediately what comes to mind here is because 7s tend to be, or have the sort of potential to be more loners, more like hermit mode. Not all 7s, obviously it depends on what else is in your chart. But there's, you know, this is a lifetime of, I don't want to say solidarity, but like, you know, there can be a lot of times where you need to be like on your own and kind of process everything that you're moving through or that's happening internally. But when wolf energy comes through, it reminds us that we are not meant to be like hermits. We're not meant to be solid creatures. We're not meant to be a lone wolf. We're meant to find our community, our pack. And not everyone is going to be for us, and that's okay. But there will be those people who gravitate towards us, who have similar values, who have similar, dreams for the world, that sort of thing. And when we can connect with that community, then we find the confidence in ourselves. We find the opportunities to present those ideas, share our gifts, all those things. And it becomes this beautiful network of support. So with wolf coming through, it's just that reminder that, you know, this is a great cycle to find your community, find your pack, put yourself out there, you know, mingle, connect with people, recognizing that not everyone is going to be for you, but you will come across the people slowly and surely who are for you and who want to see you be successful and succeed in all those things, and who you inspire just as you are being inspired by that individual or that person. So just that reminder, don't fall into the lone wolf mentality, which like I said, can be easy for 7s to do sometimes. People who see your beauty and your light and want to be a part of that in a productive, healthy, supportive way are out there. They will find you, but you've got to put yourself out there in order to connect with them. So beautiful energy, 7s. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Life path number 8, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 12-3 for this month. And with this energy, your creativity comes into the spotlight, how you express yourself comes into the spotlight, tapping into your true authentic self and letting that shine through comes into the spotlight during this time. Also travel. So if you have an opportunity to travel during this month, it's very much supported, and sort of what you're opened up to, through those travels can really help to inform your next goal, your next creative pursuit. The people that you meet could be really significant and important during that time, and not necessarily only if you're traveling, but pay attention to who you connect with through like social events, or, who you connect with, because they might be someone who reappears in your life, especially as it has to do with a creative project, or again, when it comes to how you express yourself. Now, the vibration of the 12 here, though, does say that you need to kind of pause a little bit, that you need to kind of become the observer when it comes to some kind of creative endeavor, or maybe the way that you've been expressing yourself, and to kind of reevaluate that, to kind of stop, look, and listen, and to make sure that you're not just kind of rushing through something or trying to get to the finish line, but that you're really staying informed with, how this project makes you feel, or how, when you're expressing yourself in a certain way, how it makes you feel. Are you, again, staying true and authentic to yourself, or are you trying to meet the expectations of another or society or whatever? So this can feel like kind of an opportunity for that quiet point of reflection, that quiet pause, where it really is asking you to be thinking about, how things really are, and not as they, how they appear to be. So there's a lot of opportunity to break through some of the illusions, some of the belief systems, some of the thought patterns that might have been informing your work, again, how you're showing up, or how you're sort of failing to show up, maybe where you're stopping yourself or sabotaging yourself. And so by bringing these things to light, it gives you an opportunity to create that greater inner harmony that will then be reflected externally through outer harmony. The other things I would say is, under this cycle, it gives you an opportunity to recognize where there's been some errors in your thinking, or your maybe limiting belief systems, etc. And again, where that's been kind of deterring you or holding you back from fully showing up as yourself in that expressive way. So this gives you an opportunity to counteract that, and to confront that, and to try new things, or to approach things differently, especially when it feels more authentic to do so. This is also a time where you can recognize where it might have felt like there were obstacles for you achieving something or achieving one of your goals. But if you take this energy and work with it the way that it's intended, you'll start to kind of realize that, that maybe that disharmony that you've been feeling, especially internally, right? Or when it comes to how you express yourself, those thoughts, those internal thoughts have really been the source of the true problem. And so that change of view, or that change of perspective, is what's needed in order to stop sabotaging yourself, to stop restricting yourself, to stop creating that self-imposed prison. And so you could see that you get the spotlight this month. You have an opportunity to stand center stage. And that, though that might be something that you've said you've wanted, it can actually it can show you where you have reservations about that, or where you feel like you lack confidence, or where it is that you're holding yourself back. And so it can really push you to to take the action to start to build that confidence and start to realize that, again, like what you have to offer has value and what you contribute is absolutely worthy of, being expressed and being received. There's also an element here to this energy that also says, there does need to be some surrender. There does need to be some acknowledgement that there are things in this experience that you are not able to control. And so, by trying to force that control, you're actually restricting yourself more. So it's becoming aware of course, what you can change and where you can put your energy and your effort to see that change and embrace that change, and also recognizing what you cannot change and what is out of your control or out of your hands, and not letting that be the thing that you're constantly focused on, because again, there's not much you can do there. You have to focus on the things focus on the things that are working, focus on the things where you do have momentum, focus on the things that are in your control, and trust the universe, right, to do its job in this partnership of life to create that harmony, that balance. So really beautiful energy here, but it does require you to do that self-reflective work and to recognize where is it that you are not showing up as authentically or truly yourself? Where is it that you are sort of making modifications or changes to yourself in order to make other people comfortable or accommodate others? And as an 8, you're meant to be that expert, that authority, that leader. And if you're looking to the external to tell you what to do or how to be, you're missing that mark, and you're sort of giving your power away. So as you move through this 12-3 cycle, it gives you an opportunity to come back to yourself and see where that change might be needed, to see where it is that you are making yourself small in order to maybe amplify other people's voices, when really it's like there's space for you too. There's room for you as well. And not only that, but like a lot of people are going to be looking to you for that leadership, for that guidance, for that expertise. So beautiful energy here. Now I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got rabbit energy. And so I do feel like there could be like this excitement with this energy. There could be like this need for speed, so to speak. And it can bring in some impulsivity. So I would say just be mindful of like not being overly impulsive. 8s are meant to take risks. So absolutely, if an opportunity comes up to take the risk, go for it. But it's not meant to be impulsive. Like it's obviously meant to be a calculated risk. So if you sort of struggle with impulsivity, whether it's impulse shopping or impulse, just kind of reactivity, then this is a really good cycle to kind of see, like, first of all, when is that needed? Because sometimes it is needed. And when is it that maybe you need to dial it back a little bit and just take your time and pace yourself? Also, the rabbit energy can bring in new opportunities, new beginnings. And so this is definitely a time where you want to say yes to those opportunities, again, that highlight your strengths, that highlight, your expertise, and where you have the opportunity to step into that role of authority within the area of your life that you have that expertise to share. So definitely some new opportunities could come in this month. I would definitely say, though, take your time, be curious about them, explore, make sure that they align with the direction you want to be moving in before you sort of jump the gun. But definitely explore, make sure that it fits the direction or fits the path that you want to be walking. So big energies this month, 8s. Hope it's a great one. Life path number 9, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 13-4 throughout March. And this can definitely bring in some healing type of energy, but it can also bring in some change, an opportunity for greater release, and definitely some transformation. The 13-4 energy is very much like Pluto energy in astrology. So death, transformation, rebirth, opportunity to be that phoenix rising within your own life, and perhaps again, especially as a 9. So it can show you this month where that change, that release, that transformation is needed. And then it's going to be up to you to, put in the effort, show up and make that change happen. Under this 13 vibration, you can expect changes that will bring an end to some kind of situation, some kind of condition that's no longer serving a useful purpose in your own evolutionary trajectory. And so any rigid thought patterns have to be sort of altered under this energy. Any crystallized ideas, anything that's like, again, like a faulty belief system has to be shattered under this energy. And so it will likely set the stage to help to make that happen. And that can happen through experiences, through, relationships, something where whatever needs to be the catalyst to break through that barrier, that wall that might be keeping you from doing this work or creating that change or transformation will likely come in under this vibration. And it's only through that sort of death or transformation of the present circumstances that you can be released. You can be free. You can be free to like open the door for progress within your own life. So again, old ideas have to be released, or old outdated ideas that are no longer serving you, that maybe you're clinging to, but that you're not seeing, the results that you want to see, or that they're actually having a negative effect. And so as those old ideas are swept away, it makes room for the new, better ones. And so it's just saying, this energy is just saying that there are going to be some things that need to be reworked or reframed when it comes to the way you see yourself, the way you see the world, the way you see your sense of value, your worth, your contributions in the world. There might be some significant shifts in those areas, but it's helping you to really tap into your sort of God-given gifts, your innate talents, and then find the outlets so that you can express those in some way. And it doesn't have to be for any kind of like monetary reward. It can just be like to help you to step into this 9 vibration that is your life path, so that you can be that strong presence of empowerment when it comes to uplifting, empowering, inspiring others through your work, through your presence, through your contributions in the world. And a lot of times this 13-4 cycle that you'll go through many times in life can be very beneficial for 9s, because 9s can tend to lean more towards like being cynical or pessimistic just because of the extreme challenges you've likely had to move through in your life. And so you start to become a little jaded when it comes to how you see people, how you see the world. There's just a lot of injustices in the world, and a lot of those injustices tend to happen to 9s. And so, but again, it's part of that journey, and it's part of that deeper, like really tapping into that divinity and seeing the divinity within yourself and then with others. And the 13-4 comes in and helps to kind of take an axe to, those ideas or belief systems about self or others or the world that have become solidified, that are actually just part of the greater illusion. And you need to be kind of broken free from that and go through some kind of a rebirth so that you can see the world, see yourself, see your gifts through fresh eyes, through a new perspective. And the 13-4, especially being tied to like Pluto type of energy, is sort of relentless in that pursuit. It's really trying to just free you and open you up and get you back to that place of inner harmony so that you can work towards greater outer harmony. I would say with this cycle, be prepared to meet fresh ideas, new people, new inspirations, new ideas that could absolutely come through at this time that help to shape the next chapter. So those change of plans, that new location that maybe you're moving towards, the different people could come in and kind of open up this channel for those new opportunities. And so kind of see this as an opportunity for reconstruction, an opportunity to do things differently, to approach things differently, to see things from a different perspective. And that will help to inform the decisions that you make moving forward. They won't be sort of stemmed in faulty or old, outdated belief systems, if that makes sense. Change is ultimately the basis of all earthly manifestation, right? We have to move through change in order to progress, in order to evolve, in order to see, a new world, a new experience. And so 13-4 cycles bring about that change, the necessary change, again, to release us from the past and allow the renewal to take place that can bring about the change that can promote that growth and that evolution. So this is a time to, I would say, travel, to broaden your horizons, to welcome in that growth, however it comes in for you, whether it's through relationships or, again, tapping into new gifts and how you share those gifts, how you see yourself, the dialogue you have with yourself, again, like how you speak to yourself, how you see the world. It's all up for reevaluation right now during this month. And so it's giving you an opportunity to recognize what is no longer working and replace that old with the new. And so it can be very, very, very powerful. Of course, none of it happens without you, though. So if you are stuck in your ways and you are committed to staying stuck in your ways, then you'll stay stuck in your ways and you won't benefit from all of the good that this cycle looks to accomplish. It's interesting because I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got Badger energy. And so again, Badger kind of brings in a healing energy as well. And when I think about like Badger, it's kind of like, most times you're not going to see a Badger. They're very reclusive. They kind of stick to their, themselves. They don't like want to bother anyone. They just want to kind of live their life. It kind of reminds me of 9 energy a lot of times, because when I think of 9 energy, I sometimes think about like the hermit, where, it's like a 9 would be really happy, just kind of living their life, in not having to deal with all the earthly things that happen, and just lead a quiet life and one of purpose and etc. And the Badger is very similar in that way. But you just got to be careful of like apathy. You have to be careful of disassociation, disconnection, because you don't want to kind of face how you truly feel about the situations that have happened, and for a 9, it really needs, your journey is getting you to that greater place of, again, forgiveness and love and humanitarianism and all those things. Not become the doormat, not self-sacrifice, but to really truly get to that place of pure divine consciousness, which is not easy. But Badger is similar in that sense. And so, it's kind of like recognizing, where is it that you might be disassociating or you might be disconnecting because you just don't want to face it? And where is it that you need to recognize that you're like the peace that you can bring to that situation, the presence that you have, can actually be very healing, not only for you, but for all involved. So, by kind of disassociating or pulling yourself back from situations, a lot of times, the world is missing out on the gift that you as a 9 bring to the table, which is, again, your presence. So the more that you can get yourself to a place of inner peace and harmony and balance, the more that you will become that presence for others, and the work of the 9 truly begins, right? So the cycle of the 13-4, the energy of the Badger coming through, it's just that reminder, like, you can be the observer, but don't fully detach. Like, don't step into apathy. Don't step into sort of removing yourself from the situation, because then the world misses out on your gifts. Hope it's a great one. Take care, 9s. Life Path 11-2, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 15-6 for this month. And so this is kind of the energy of like you and the devil. And what I mean by that is like, there could be a lot of experiences or situations where it feels like the world or relationships or whatever are playing the devil's advocate and kind of confronting you with where it is that you might be holding yourself back, where you might be sabotaging yourself, where it is that you are not recognizing your true value, your gifts, your place in the world, etc. And so as you move through this cycle, the materialistic side of life is more emphasized now. So you might see that you get, receive money or favors from others at this time. You might see that opportunities for progression comes in through some kind of radical change in your lifestyle that releases you from, or is a catalyst that releases you from, or starts that process from, again, those limitations that you might have been putting on yourself, or that you felt like the world is putting on you, right? But I think you'll find through like a change of perspective, maybe through that confrontation, again, like if a catalyst comes in and kind of shakes your world a little bit this month, you could sort of be shaken awake to see like, oh gosh, okay, there is a different way. There is a better way. I've just been kind of tripping myself up here with self-doubt, with not believing in myself, whatever it might be. And so this cycle can bring about that catalyst, that radical change that can eventually through your own work and through your own just kind of continuing to show up, can release you from those limitations and allow you to have that sense of freedom, that sense of freer expression of self, of your gifts, however, again, however it shows up. So this is going to be one of those potentially uncomfortable cycles where it's pushing you to recognize that those long-held belief systems you might have had, those long-held views that you might have had, need to change, need to be shifted in some way. And through the experiences that you may have this month, newfound beliefs can set your mind at ease. It can eradicate those old fears. It can help to push you forward. It can help to motivate you to take charge and to move down the path that you've been wanting to move down but didn't think you were capable of for whatever reason. This is by no means an idle energy. This is one of these cycles where, again, it's going to be pushing you to be decisive, to make decisions, and to then take decisive action. It's going to be really important that you decide whether the experiences of this cycle are limiting you or setting you free. And those that are limiting you, you need to move away from. You need to release it. You need to find a way to shift your perspective and move towards the people, places, things where you feel that sense of freedom, where you can be yourself, where you can express yourself, where you can be inspired and follow that inspiration, especially as an 11-2. I would also say be really careful with this energy about burning the candle at both ends, kind of becoming that workaholic, throwing yourself into something so fully that you sort of neglect your personal needs and like what your body is asking for. Find that greater balance. Continue to find that greater balance. And I would say this is one of those times also where you don't want to like overcommit to things or overburden yourself when it comes to people or things that tend to kind of put you in a position of servitude or sacrifice. There's no need to sacrifice with any situation. And so if you are sacrificing yourself, or if you do feel like you're being taken advantage of your generosity, this is the time to call it out, to have the conversations, to, if necessary, start to move in a different direction, to advocate for yourself, to speak up for what it is that you need, and to say no, to not take on those burdens, those overcommitments that don't feel aligned for you or that drain your inspiration. This is one of those times where you should be really cautious about, again, saying yes or committing yourself to something, especially long-term, that just doesn't feel fully aligned or might feel off in some way. It's okay to pause. It's okay to say, I need more time. And it's okay to say, no, this doesn't fit for me. This doesn't work for me. And maybe the terms can be renegotiated so that it works for all involved. But if not, it's okay to say no. And so like this energy, again, is showing you where it is that you trip yourself up, where you sabotage yourself. And sometimes we sabotage ourselves by saying yes to things we don't want to say yes to, or by saying no to things we don't want to say no to. And so it's really helping you to see where that shift needs to occur. And yes, people will be upset. Yes, people's feathers will get ruffled, but that's their problem. That's not yours. And so as a 2, ultimately, right, 11-2, you have to find your balance when it comes to being a giver, showing up, being the one who is the mediator, the one who finds the common ground, all that, and not neglect or sacrifice yourself in that process. So you have to, again, continue. This is a journey of finding that balance. And when you move through a cycle like the 15-6, it can help you to see where those sort of boundaries lie. And it's going to be your job to not ignore those. It's not your job to manage other people's emotions or expectations. It's your job to listen to your body holistically and make important decisions from that place and from your intuition and from your inspirations. And the people who support you and who want to see you be successful in that will show up and will be a part of the journey. And the ones who were sort of just in it for themselves and what they could get from you, you'll likely see start to fall away. And not to sound crass, but that's okay. The key of this cycle is to constantly be looking beneath the surface and to see the situation for what it truly is, using your discernment. Discernment is key this month. And then making decisions from that place of discernment. And by looking sort of beyond the limitations of any circumstances, you can start to bring about more peace, more satisfaction, more solutions to that situation. Also, I would say this is one of those times to like not take life too seriously. Obviously, there's going to be things that need your attention and that need your, need that sort of dedication. But, if it's things that it's like are out of your control and just, in the long term, just aren't going to matter, find a way to find the levity within the situation and don't let it consume you. Don't let it like impact your health. Find a way to, I don't want to say like laugh it off, but to find your joy amidst the chaos. Find your joy amidst even the devastation that's happening in the world. It's going to be really important for your holistic health. So keep that in mind. Nobody is a martyr. Nobody can save the world. And so we can just continue to show up in the way that we can individually, and laughter and joy is a part of that resistance, that movement. So continue to find your joy, create your joy, follow your inspirations, and stop sabotaging yourself along the way. All right, I pulled an animal message for you all, and you got coyote energy, and this is so spot on. Like, because coyote, I think they're one of those animals that are so, I think, well balanced. It's like when they have to hunt, when they have work to do, they're dedicated. They are very astute. But when the work is over, they're playing, they're having fun. They're just like, romping around. They're like puppies. So it's such a beautiful balance. Like if something's, let's say they go on a chase that doesn't work out, they literally just shake it off and on to the next one, right? It doesn't derail them. And so there's just this really healthy, from what we can witness, right? There's this very healthy balance really within all of the non-human animals. There's a beautiful, healthy balance of nature that humans have sort of bypassed and upset the natural balance of things to our own detriment. But I digress. So with coyote coming through, it's just that reminder that there's going to be those things that need your attention, that need your effort, that need your, that more serious nature. But balance that out with the levity, with the lightness, with the laughter. And then you're getting the most out of this cycle. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, 11s. Life Path 22-4. So we're going to be working with a vibration of the 26-8. And I do like this energy for us. It can definitely bring in some beautiful relationships, some beautiful collaborations, opportunities to meet people who will be very significant in our journey forward. But there is a karmic side to this energy that needs to be discussed. And so we'll talk about it. So basically, this is a karmic cycle. And so throughout the month, you could meet someone who, again, is going to be in your life for a very long time, because karma doesn't always have to come in a difficult way. Sometimes it can come in, a karmic surplus, right? So you're meeting someone who is able and capable of loving you unconditionally. And so they show up and they sort of help you to move through anything standing in your way of loving yourself unconditionally and receiving that unconditional love from others. And then in turn, loving others unconditionally. So, that can be a karmic event as well. So for some of you, you might meet a lifelong partner at this time. You might meet a friend who, again, is just opens your eyes to a whole new world. Or you could meet a business partnership at this time that is really able to take your work, take your voice to a whole nother level. It's very, very possible here. And whoever you meet at this time, whether it's someone who is coming to teach you a lesson, right? To help you to extract greater wisdom on your journey, or whether it's someone, again, who is coming up in more of a, what feels like more of a supportive role. Any of that is possible at this time. And also children also have a karmic relationship to us. So those of us that have children, or those of you who have children, I just have furry children. But those of you who have children, that is a karmic bond that relationship is a karmic bond that is meant to play out in this lifetime. And so it can be incredibly beautiful. So, and it can also be challenging at times, but that helps us to unlock the wisdom associated with that deeper connection that we wouldn't have been able to unlock without that deeper connection. So for some of you, you might fall pregnant at this time or have a baby or adopt or something along those lines. That's very possible as well. But whoever you connect with this month, whoever comes into your life in a significant way, will likely play a very important role in your future. Now, this is definitely a very, very powerful time and a good time to really develop your powers of expression, to maybe take a course, learn a foreign language, maybe study a subject that will help to broaden your horizons and enhance your experiences, as well as help you to become more of an authority, more of the expert in your field. And then to find the ways to share that expertise. For 22-4, it wouldn't be uncommon if you could, maybe step into some kind of a teacher role where you are sharing that wisdom. And this 26-8 energy can help to open the doors for that next step, for that next chapter, to allow you to do that. And this would be a great time to do that. So any kind of like publishing, if you're going to do any kind of like coursework, which there is, it's interesting because I'm a 22-4 and I've been thinking about creating a course for how to read your charts, so that you can kind of do that on your own. It doesn't replace the readings that I offer, but it can definitely, enhance your ability to read your own charts on your own in your own time type thing. So that's something I'm thinking about. And it's funny because it may fall like within March sometime. So very much aligned with that. So something, like along those lines, publishing, anything like that, anything about getting your wisdom, your expertise out into the world, very much encouraged at this time. And you could see some success from that, or great success from that down the road. But if it's not you putting the expertise out there, then it's you taking courses, taking workshops, reading books, traveling, connecting with people, expanding your mind, expanding your spirit, learning, etc. Like, again, enhancing your expertise in some way so that you can then get to that point of sharing that expertise in some way, especially as the master builder that you are. This is definitely, there's a strong emphasis on finances. So this is a financial vibration. So I would say, it's a time, because there's that karmic element, use good judgment, check out all the details before making some kind of significant investment or going into some kind of partnership or agreement, especially if it's long-term. If it's something that you're committing to, I would say make sure that you have all the details and that you do your due diligence to make sure that your best interests are also taken into consideration and that you're not being bamboozled in some way. Now, again, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, because this is also, again, a karmic cycle that also has to do with that 8 energy, which is power, money, status, influence, etc., and which also includes the shadow sides of that. So it is possible for some that, that falls more towards like the negative vibration of this cycle, where partnerships, contracts can be broken at this time. And there could be some losses. So again, use your good judgment. Make sure that, how you're showing up and what you are committing to, you have integrity behind that. And that if you feel indecisive, that you're taking your time before making an important decision, especially an important decision that's going to affect you or your family for a significant period of time. Just take your time. But the positives of this cycle, of course, I would say expect the very best this month. And, beautiful relationships can come out of this cycle. Lifetimes of happiness and fulfillment can come out of this particular cycle, whether it's to do with business or career, how you express yourself, or relationships, any area of your life. So significant opportunities can present themselves this month. And you're going to have to use discernment and be decisive in deciding which opportunities to say yes to and which ones to say no to. I pulled an animal wisdom message for us, and we got mouse energy. And so, of course, this just makes me think of like paying attention to the finer details, like the smaller details, not rushing, not overriding, not dismissing your gut feeling about things, but paying attention to those details. And especially when it comes to like contracts or anything along those lines, read the fine print, have someone who has the legal capacity to understand that fine print read it over as well. It is worth that investment. But also when it comes to just like, how, what you're putting out into the world, to your relationships, don't rush through the details. Don't try to like skip steps. Pay attention. Focus your energy on those details. And then you're going to get the most out of it, and you're going to build the most solid, most structural foundation within those areas of your life. Also, there's this sense of like innocence and just, not taking things too seriously, but like falling more into the softer side of, like showing up and putting in your effort, but then seeing how things work out and being adaptable and kind of rolling with the waves a little bit here and just seeing, what is this energy trying to show you, and not trying to control the situation too much, but having sort of a lightness to it can be really, really beneficial, kind of like tapping into that greater innocence in some way, and where things don't always have to be so fully defined or rigid or structured, but there's like there's a whimsical nature to it, or you can bring that whimsical nature in and understand that, we're always in partnership with the unseen, and there's things that we don't know and that we don't need to know just yet. Eventually we'll know, but we don't need to know just yet. So focus on the things that are working, that have momentum, that you are meant to show up to in this moment, and the rest you'll discover the rest as you continue to move forward. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Life Path 33.6, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 37.1 for this month. And I really like this energy for you all. This is kind of one of those more calm, kind of relaxing cycles. And I would say take advantage of it, because things will likely pick up in the coming months. But this is kind of, again, calm, happy. You can see friendships come in at this time. You can see that people who have the ability to support you in some way, or who can, have what you need in order to accomplish a goal, can show up at this time and can be influential, and they can help you to achieve some of those results that you've been looking to achieve. And so you can see like help and assistance and support coming through your friends, or through your partner, or through any existing relationship that feels very safe and supportive at this time. And I would say, accept that support, accept that assistance at this time, because again, it can help to open some doors for you, can help to maybe amplify your voice in some way, get your message out into the world in a broader sense of the word. So yeah, this is just one of those times where you can see people show up in support of you. And, sometimes that can be difficult for 6s, right? 33 6s, but sometimes it's like very refreshing and very much needed. So, this is one of those times where I would say, like, let others do the heavy lifting for you. You might have to ask for what it is that you feel you need, but there are going to be people people that will show up who can do that for you. This is a time where I would say, make the time to put your home life first, your family first, spend more time with family, friends, people who, again, uplift your spirit, make you feel welcome, make you feel supported, the people who are your greatest cheerleaders. This is going to be that time where I would say, surround yourself with that, and remind yourself that these people exist, and that you are supported, and that you're not doing whatever it is alone. The love vibration with this cycle is very, very strong. So this is one of those times where, like, if you're looking for a partner, you could very well meet that person at this time. But also, if you're looking for new friends or a new sense of community, that could absolutely come in at this time as well. It's a very fortunate vibration when it comes to, again, like feeling loved, feeling supported, feeling like, other people have your back and want to see you be successful, and they're there to help you to achieve that. Again, you're like an active participant in this, like it doesn't happen without you. So people can show up willing and ready to serve, but if you have like that more martyrdom kind of energy, and you say, I can do it myself, and you're hyper independent, then you'll unfortunately miss out on this beautiful energy. So it's going to require you to be open to that assistance and perhaps have to ask for it, but to receive it graciously, and then you'll get the most out of this cycle. This is one of those times too where you might be called to or really drawn towards like like maybe going back to school or taking a course or immersing yourself in like the arts, maybe painting or singing or playing an instrument or picking up an instrument in some way, photography, anything that kind of like ignites your senses through creativity is very much highlighted during this cycle. And I would say go for it, especially when it like sparks something from within you, sparks those ideas or kind of get your motor running when it comes to creativity. This is such an awesome cycle for that. So anything that piques your interest around, again, the arts, philosophy, science, any spiritual subjects as well. So like if you're into astrology or numerology or tarot or whatever, this is such a great time to really like dive into it and throw yourself into it, get a reading perhaps. Really, really great time for that, because it'll help you to discover even more about yourself and your gifts and your strengths and your talents, etc. And also some of the energies that you have to move through. But the creative areas of your life will likely be enhanced during this cycle, or could be. And so you might find greater outlets to those creative interests at this time. And I would say go for it for sure. Definitely you can feel called to kind of beautify your space in a significant way. Also beautify yourself in a way that makes you feel good. It's not about like pleasing others or getting validation from others. It's about like what makes you feel good. Does your home space, your office space, where you spend the majority of your time, is it beautiful? Does it feel beautiful for you? Does it uplift your spirit? Because this is the time to sort of modify that if it doesn't, and use your creativity, use your talents to beautify those spaces, because then it's an expression of self. This is also one of those times where business can prosper and you could benefit financially. So maybe you want to share your creativity with others in some way. So like if you're a photographer, maybe you want to, just be a part of a gallery, show your pictures. Same thing if you're an artist, if any sort. How can you sort of get your beauty out into the world, and finding outlets for that? And you could find that you do find outlets for that. And not only that, you could see that you sort of prosper from that, especially if you're looking to monetize it in some way. But any pursuits during this time, could lead to travel, could lead to, again, like connecting with others in some way that's meaningful, and taking like workshops or courses or something like that, which again, not only ignites your spirit and your creativity, but connects you with people who have similar interests. And again, you might just meet someone very significant in those exchanges. So beautiful time for creativity, for friendships, for partnerships, for family, for love, for beautification, for just, again, like just really like creating the experience and the environment that makes you feel good. There's always challenges in life, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't be an active leader when it comes to creating the spaces that we want to exist in, and surrounding ourselves with the people who also enhance that. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got the pine marten. And so immediately what comes up here is like mischief. Like there's such like fast moving little like creatures who like kind of pop up out of the ground just haphazardly. I mean, there's, I'm sure, a method to their madness, but it's just like it's like they're always like creating mischief almost. And so there's just this reminder to like be spontaneous, have fun, let your hair down, like don't neglect your joy. Don't neglect, what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel free, what makes you feel light. And because the other stuff is going to come, right? The challenges, the chaos, that's all. Life is going to send that your way. That's just part of life. But if you're neglecting the joy, if you're neglecting the fun, if you're neglecting the spontaneity and like the true essence of life, you're not going to have the ability to kind of bounce back when you need to bounce back when these difficulties arise. And so this is such a beautiful cycle, just to remind you that life is meant to be lived. We're meant to tap into that joy. We're meant to create that joy. We're meant to surround ourselves with the people where we feel that sense of safety, security, happiness, joy, where we feel supported, where we feel that, they want to see us be successful. And there's nothing wrong with choosing to surround ourselves with those people. So just a reminder, to tap into, to not only tap into your creativity and your joy and do more of what brings you joy. I think that's so, so, so important for 33 sixes. I mean, it's important for all of us, but especially for 33 sixes, like your presence alone is meant to beautify a space, meant to uplift, empower, and inspire people just through your presence. And you can't do that, right? You can't satisfy that vibration of the 33 if you are sort of being swallowed up by the negativity of the world. So you have to really work to find that balance. And cycles like this can help you to not only do that, but to recognize like you don't have to do it alone. So beautiful energy here. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life path 44-8. So you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 48-3. And this is a cycle that you've gone through a few times over the course of the last year anyway. So it's coming back in. And so it's bringing about, or has the potential to bring in, success, also success abandoned. And it can also push you to expand your mind, expand your spirit in some way, whether that's through travel or whether that's through taking a course, learning a language, reading a book, something like that expands the mind and the perspective in some way. But ultimately with this cycle, this brings in an opportunity for celebration. So you could see some of your goals being achieved at this time. You could see some of those rewards forthcoming. You could feel very generous, very loving in wanting to share those good fortunes with those around you. And so it gives you an opportunity to see like how your contributions can have a greater impact in the world, how your voice, how your work, how you show up can actually move mountains, so to speak. And so the key is that you have to continue to show up. And when you see rewards come in from your efforts, a big part of your journey is to find ways to circulate that wealth, that abundance, that goodness with others, because it's not meant to be hoarded and kind of like held onto. The focus in this lifetime, especially for 44-8s, is not on self. It really is on like, how can I share my wisdom? How can I share, my abundance, my expertise, my whatever with others in order to create something better together, right? And so when you move through cycles like the 48-3 and you potentially see those rewards come in, big or small, celebrate those rewards, but also find ways to circulate those rewards in some way. So again, if you've overcome a big challenge and you've extracted the wisdom and you see that abundance come in, whatever that means for you, celebrate that and incorporate it into your own life in some way, but then find ways to circulate it. That is such a keynote of your master life path number in order to meet the requirements of that energy. You could see under this cycle that you gain some kind of greater opportunity. Your horizons broaden in some way. Maybe you gain some kind of greater insight that unlocks the key, or gives you the key to unlock the door of a new opportunity. So you could see new relationships come in at this time. New love could also be in the equation here. So you could see, if you're single, you could meet someone very, very important, someone who could be in your life for quite some time. But for some of you, it might be connecting with someone who has like similar values or has a similar vision of what they want to create in the world. And a beautiful business relationship could emerge. Travel, again, is a big part of the picture here, but it doesn't mean like you necessarily have to actually physically travel. It could be like traveling of the mind. So maybe you, again, read a really powerful book that just opens your world up exponentially, and then you're able to gain inspiration from that. For some of you, though, it might actually be physical travel, and then that can bring in excitement for something new and that expansion and through meeting different cultures or seeing different landscapes. And again, you could feel really, really inspired through those actions that you take at this time, travel included. I would say that this is also a time where I would be aware of taking the time to pause and to be very conscious about like what is truly important to you right now. And what is something that you thought was going to be really important, but now that you've like achieved it, it just doesn't feel that necessary or that important. And where maybe is it that you want to shift some gears and not potentially move in that direction moving forward, right? And that's the thing with like life and experiences. Sometimes we don't know until we experience it. And then once we experience it, we can reevaluate and say, okay, I thought this was for me, but obviously it's not. So let me just shift gears here. Let me move in a different direction. And sometimes those of us who have strong 4s in our life path, it can be difficult to know when to shift gears, right? Because there's a very dedicated, committed, loyal type of energy. And so when you move through cycles like the 48-3, it gives you an opportunity to check in with yourself and see like, is this still heart-led? Is my heart still in this? Do I still feel aligned with this? Do I still want to continue to pursue this? And if not, this is such a perfect cycle for, severing those ties and shifting gears. And that might be something that doesn't just happen overnight, but that's something that you have to start taking the steps towards. But this is a great time to recognize like, okay, this used to be for me. I was really invested in it. And it served its purpose. So now I can shift gears and move in a different direction. And you might find the call to do that. And for some of you, you could see like a relationship come in or some kind of partnership or some kind of experience that serves to be a catalyst that really turns sort of the focus that you might have had on your materialistic mind, right? The material side of life, more towards the spiritual, more towards the humanitarian side of things. So again, like, how can I show up in a way that is of service? How can I show up in a way that, where my work is going to be impactful, where my work will not only have meaning to me, but it will also have that greater impact in the world in a way that's needed. And so if you're sort of finding yourself in that space, then it's going to be really important that you have those deeper conversations with those communities that you want to be of service to, right? So, or for. And so, not just kind of come up with the solutions that you think those communities need, but having the conversations like, what is it that you need at this time? And then coupling that with like, okay, what gifts do I have? What are my talents? How can I show up in a way that is of service, but that is also bringing a greater resource? And that, will also help you to share the wisdom that you continue to accumulate, being the wisdom keepers, right? So it becomes this sort of symbiotic relationship where you're not just deciding what other people need, but you're having the conversations and then coupling that with like, okay, this is how I can show up. This is how I can contribute in this way and bring that greater solution into this dynamic. And that can be incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful. Again, also like if you're feeling very drawn towards the more spiritual side of life, towards, again, that more humanitarian realm, volunteering can be really important for you at this time. Again, like maybe doing some pro bono work, maybe offering your work at a discount, whatever, like however it speaks to you. Or again, doing things and immersing yourself in nature or things that, again, get you reconnected to what's truly, truly, truly important to you in this lifetime. Because chances are it's going to very much bypass the material side of life, like money, power, status, whatever. Those are important because we live in a world that's really driven by those. But for you all, especially as 44/8, it's going to be important that you tap into like ongoing that more spiritual side of yourself, because that's going to continuously remind you of what's actually really important and like how you're actually meant to truly show up and share your gifts and your talents in this world in order to have the greatest impact. Very, very powerful cycle. Now I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all and you got snail energy. And so of course, what comes through is just slow down, take your time, be patient with yourself, be patient with the world, be patient with the universe. Like everything is happening in divine timing. You cannot force it. You cannot control it. You cannot sort of expedite it. So continue to show up in whatever ways that you can, stay present, and trust in the unseen, trust in this partnership that we all have with the universe, with God, with our higher self, with whatever you subscribe to. Because, it is a partnership and we are not meant to do it alone, and we're not doing it alone. So the more that we can invest in that sort of spiritual connection, the more that we're going to get out of this very human experience. So slow down, pace yourself, take your time. There's no need to rush, especially for a 44-8. Like rushing is not even an option. It's like, this is a journey. You're meant to pace yourself. You are meant to, continue to extract the wisdom and then find ways that speak to your heart in order to share that wisdom. So it's a journey, not a sprint. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now.